In this day and age, digital is what's taking over. Weddings are becoming more extravagant. By extension, a lot of people plan their weddings before they've even met the person they'll marry. People who have access to the internet often look far and wide for ideas on websites like Pinterest or YouTube. Here you can find a plethora of wedding dress and decor examples. However, there are wedding films that are completely unlike any others. The big day is an unforgettable experience for the happy couple. A one-of-a-kind wedding is what the bride desires. The wedding's colors and floral arrangements alone take weeks to plan. The bridesmaids' outfits and the wedding vows are completely off topic. Every bride dreams of meticulously planning her own wedding because it is an incredibly emotional and demanding process. That wasn't satisfactory enough for one bride. It was different from her last, more conventional wedding. Before we begin, make sure to smash that like button, subscribe to our channel, and click the notification bell for more amazing videos. Unbeknownst to her soon-to-be husband, Cassandra had secret plans for her wedding. The couple hired a videographer to record the surprise as they live in Florida. The revelation of Cassandra's secret surprised many. Anyone, anywhere in the globe may view the video. The bride's actions became apparent as the video gained popularity. Wedding gifts are an essential part of any wedding. Gifts meant to help the newlyweds settle into a house together are becoming less common as more couples choose to live together before tying the knot. Guests, or the bride and groom, exchanging more personal presents is irrelevant. The presence of gifts is essential to a fairy tale wedding. With her gifts for her husband, Cassandra was sure to make a statement. The newlyweds will also be getting presents from one another. Small, endearing items like socks to ward off cold feet or handkerchiefs to dab at the tears of pleasure that are sure to flow on the big day are the usual. It can even be a passionate love letter at times. None of those were things Cassandra was willing to offer her groom. She intended to deviate slightly from the usual. Even she could tell it was divisive. Her husband was the center of attention when the time came. It was customary for the bride to refrain from speaking throughout the wedding ceremony. It would be bestowed upon the best man and the bride's father. However, Cassandra enjoyed defying convention. At this point, nobody could stop her from giving a speech. It was her big day, ultimately. Her soon-to-be husband, their guests, and everyone viewing online could not help but gasp in shock as soon as she started speaking. Just as the wedding was getting off to a good start, Cassandra stood up and started tapping her glass with a cake fork in an attempt to silence the guests. Trapped in bewilderment, everyone gazed at her. Upon the entrance of a trio of mysterious males, all glances turned to Cassandra. As 6 stocky guys trailed after the groom, the guests twisted to observe, confused. There was complete silence. Even the newly arriving guests had no idea what was going to happen. Cassandra remained mum about the identities of the males. On the contrary, she informed everyone about a delightful surprise that she had in store. Guests will find something special in the room, she assured them. The anticipation was palpable in everyone's eyes. It was time to find their gifts, Cassandra stated. Guests swarmed the room, looking about in a panic. They searched every table, every bouquet, and every crevice in between. In their last-ditch effort, they set up ornaments and statues. The happy couple often gives each visitor a memento to keep as a reminder of the special day. Traditionally, it would take the form of a candle or a glass with the names of the happy couple etched into its base. At the very least, the visitors anticipated such an arrangement, but the presents were closer than everybody had anticipated. As soon as one of the guests shouted that they had discovered an envelope under their seat, the others quickly followed suit. Presently, every single attendee was gazing inquisitively at an envelope. What did it contain? At last, the bride spoke up, allowing everyone to open their envelopes. As astonishment replaced enthusiasm in the gathering. As they eagerly tore open the envelopes and peered inside, the guests' expressions turned wide. Each package contained a Dunkin' Donuts certificate good for $3, which is more than enough to purchase one treat. The bride was handing out Dunkin' Donuts gift certificates. But why? There had been so much anticipation, and then the guests were let down. In what way did the bride's haphazard gift matter? Not even the bridegroom could decipher it. Next, Cassandra made another plea for silence. Her explanation prompted a wave of bewildered expressions as everyone turned their heads back to her. You see, the vouchers were not intended for the guests in attendance. From the room, a chorus of surprised murmurs arose. who were the vouchers for? That was the question on everyone's mind. They were already perplexed, and Cassandra was just making things worse. Subsequently, she elaborated on how the presents pertained to the 6 men she had summoned to the meeting. The visitors had lost track of them in all the hubbub. They may or may not have met the person yet, but the bride continued by saying that the coupons were for someone they all knew. Tell me what happened. She brought the men to her husband and introduced them as fellow policemen who had served with him on the local police department, describing them as brothers in arms. As a wave of familiarity washed over the audience, their confusion persisted. For what reason did the bride feel the need to mention them while giving her speech? The men, she said, were daring, selfless, thoughtful, powerful, and kind. Having said that, it wasn't always the case. She went on to say that the police force was disrespected way too frequently. They were unfairly treated by the public, leaving their families behind to report for duty and never actually having time off like most of the visitors did. She spoke of the sacrifices her husband and his colleagues made every single day. Being the center of attention and receiving such high acclaim was new for the police officers, so they stood a bit nervously. As they all considered the bride's words, the remaining audience members shifted uncomfortably as well. Many people wondered in silence whether they had also been disrespectful in the way she described. Guests were still interested. The police personnel were unrelated to the vouchers. The secret was going to come out. One stereotype about law enforcement is that they are huge coffee and donut fans. Films and TV shows have repeated this cliché numerous times. Police officers are portrayed in this manner even on The Simpsons. The bride was astutely aware of this preconception and chose to play on it. A donut and a hot coffee would be yours for the price of 1 voucher. However, she had a secret strategy in mind that involved not taking advantage of them. As she spoke to the bewildered throng, Cassandra urged them to hold on to the vouchers and give them to the next police officer they encountered. An expression of appreciation and reverence was intended by the action. Despite the little value of the vouchers, Cassandra emphasized the power of even the most selfless deed. Her wish was that they would bring joy and appreciation to the lives of some police officers. Yet Ryan, Cassandra's bewildered groom, placed far greater value on Cassandra's presence. The gesture was significant to him. He was moved to tears by her thoughtful and unconventional approach to expressing her admiration and support for his decision to join the police force. This wasn't all, though. She also extended the handshake to his fellow cops. Ryan praised his wife for everything she had done through tears, clearly overcome with passion. He had never gotten a better present than that. To express their own profound emotion, the 6 officers embraced the bride tightly. While Cassandra meticulously arranged her gift, Ryan believed that his own present could never compare. He would have every right to think that, to be honest. But he had his own speech prepared. He made a solemn vow to his wife that he would never stop serving his nation. Above all else, he assured her that he would do whatever it took to make her happy. He was confident they could endure anything because of her love and support. Naturally, the couple's videographer, and maybe even a few guests, videotaped the whole wedding. The video was quickly made publicly available online. Additionally, it allowed guests who were unable to attend the ceremony to partake in the day's enchanting festivities. No one, however, had foreseen its eventual breadth. With more than 180,000 views, the video became an internet sensation. How, though, did people respond to the moving video? The feedback kept rolling in. Members of the public, law enforcement, and their families expressed their appreciation and solidarity. Among the numerous spectators was the spouse of a law enforcement official. She went into detail about the challenges she faced as a mother, while her husband worked long hours serving the nation in her remark. Additionally, she expressed the difficulty of knowing that something could happen to him while he was serving his country, a genuine dread for families of police officers. The video's widespread distribution served as an inspiration to many individuals. After hearing Cassandra's touching dedication to police officers, many felt compelled to do something kind. It's hard to believe that a wedding film of just one bride moved thousands of people all across the globe. The timing of the film, when tensions were at an all-time high between police and people, further underscored the significance of its message. Cassandra had given a lot of consideration to the ideal present to offer her husband. Yet, she chose to create a monumental display of her affection rather than settle for a small, insignificant present, like a hip flask or watch. As an alternative to a generic, soon-to-be-forgotten wedding favor, Cassandra chose to give her guests an unforgettable experience. Many people should be moved to remember those who are so easily forgotten by this story, I hope. The men and women who serve and protect our nation and its citizens put their lives on the line daily, while we go about our cushy lives. A simple thank you will be greatly appreciated the next time you encounter a police officer. One other thing we can take away from Cassandra and Ryan's wedding film: demonstrating your support and gratitude for someone's efforts is the greatest present you can provide them.